Hello, this is Daniel Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide. In the latest build of the 3.19 PTU, CIG has added a new player tutorial. This fills a hole that many general game writers and professional naysayers have often pounced upon as an indication of the incomplete nature of the game. So in one respect, this can be seen as a checkbox to dampen those critics, and also as a way not to lose new players just showing up for a free fly event just to kick the tires. I am guessing that CIG's analysis has shown that if a new player can get their spaceship and get to orbit, they have been able to spend enough time to become immersed in the detail and beauty of the world. But is it a good tutorial? Well, I hope CIG was hoping for some constructive criticism because that's what I am here for. The tutorial shows up as a big pop-up when you first enter the game. It is impossible to miss, and that is the whole point. I would only include one other thing, and that is a Don't Ask Again checkbox that changes an option that can be switched back. That way, if you want to let a friend go through the tutorial on your account, you can. And if, for example, I want to go back and record a newer version of the tutorial, as I suspect that there will be, I can do that as well. First, a trap that hit me when I first tried the tutorial, but which may not affect the genuine new player. My muscle memory kicked in and I hit the Y key to get out of bed before the tutorial was able to load. So I found myself standing there while the tutorial was telling me to hit the Y key to get out of bed. No problem, I thought, just get back into bed and then get out to satisfy the tutorial program, and then I can continue. But getting into the bed was disabled. So I quit the game and restarted. This time I knew to wait. Now comes a general question, which is what is the best way to convey information in a tutorial? Generally, I would say that it is with voice rather than with pica text. However, you may want to keep the text as a supplement, particularly to accommodate a deaf user. However, the tutorial puts some information here, and some information here, and some information as system messages here, and then we have the newly added interaction hints here. It smacks of uncoordinated development by 3 different teams and needs at best to be consolidated. Have the primary teaching tool be voiceover, then include the briefest of summary information from the voiceover here above the interaction hints and of a similar appearance. But hold that for a moment, as I'm going to actually have an entirely different suggestion at the end of the video. Next, the tutorial says to open your journal, which in reality is just a way to get players to open their Mobiglas. Since the journal is the least often used part of the Mobiglas in the game, I would suggest instead that it just says to open the Mobiglas and explore the various choices across the bottom of the screen. This is going to be more useful than giving them the false impression that the journal is the most important thing about the Mobiglas, rather than the least. Then comes eating and drinking, for which a water bottle and burrito have been provided. Now here I have a bit of beef with the burrito. Here the interaction with the burrito says eat, but out in the wild the interaction with food on the table would be grab, and only after it in your hand, eat. I know it is tempting in a tutorial to make things as simple as possible, but you are doing a player no favors by teaching them something that does not work that way outside of the tutorial. Also, in order to eat and drink, the character starts the tutorial with their helmet off, but there is no warning or instructions yet about putting the helmet on. We all know that will end badly. Take the elevator to the ground floor is next, and then check out the new map system. I like. It also lets the user know that things are diegetic in the verse. Maps are, well, maps. Next, going to Cubby Blast to make your first purchase. Now, when you get to Cubby Blast, the text now talks about needing a helmet, but honestly, I missed that the first time through. Not only that, but it allowed me to finish this step without buying anything. Not the helmet, for which a new player already is going to own, nor the one thing that I would absolutely tell a new player just waking up in Area 18 to buy here, a multi-tool and tractor beam. The next step is going to the spaceport, and I'm going to call that premature. We've just bought something, whether it was a helmet or a multi-tool or whatever, so this is the time to learn how to use it. In other words, there needs to be a tutorial on the inventory system, right here. Have the character put on the helmet that they presumably just bought, or add the multi-tool to their belt and tractor beam to the multi-tool. The inventory system must be part of the new player orientation. Now we get to the spaceport and retrieve the ship. There's a rented C8 Pisces Plus. Is this a bug? The Pisces that apparently was already in my fleet. But the text of the tutorial was not re-edited for 3.18.1, so there is no mention of the dual stage deliver plus retrieve. I get to the pilot seat of the Pisces, and we see the worst example of something that has in fact been happening on occasion all throughout the tutorial, overlapping information. And here it is unavoidable and obscuring several important points, such as how to get the hangar doors open, free look, and waiting for the hangar doors to fully open before proceeding. The tutorial gives the basics on what each key does, but for a first-time takeoff, a bit more instruction would be needed. For example, give the spacebar just a couple taps to get off the pad, then tap the W key until you are clear of the hangar, then hold spacebar to get clear of local obstacles, and then proceed. Instead, a new user might hit the W key too hard, and then, well, this happens. But objective complete, I got out of the hangar. Then we have some basic maneuvering to get to a couple of checkpoints, for which I hit the C key before realizing that they hadn't really talked about the C key and scroll wheel, which they did after the second checkpoint. At this point, it reminds you how to contact the landing control, but for the first-time player, trying to find what the assigned hangar marker looks like among all the other visual clutter is difficult, particularly since there appears to be two Land at Bajini Point markers, one for the station and one for the actual hangar. Finally, it tells you go to the lobby to store the tutorial ship, but leaves out describing to go to the terminal to do that. When you do, however, you get an unexpected 15,000 Alpha UEC, which seems like a whole hell of a lot for 30 minutes of zero risk. After all, your cargo qualifying mission will take much longer and even possibly involve a hostile abandoned outpost for only 4,000. So my overall impression was meh. What should CIG do to improve it? Well, I know that occasionally a CIG employee will see one of my videos, so if you are a CIG employee, you should take a deep, cleansing breath in and out, and then unblock your chakras and center yourself in your peaceful place. You there? Okay, you should completely scrap it in its entirety. Hey, peaceful place, remember? Here's what you should do instead. Player wakes up for the first time and hears, "Welcome, first-time visitor to Adira Falls. Press spacebar for a 20-second overview of using your hab." If the player presses the spacebar, the video plays in their Mobiglas so as not to break diegetic continuity. A moment later, "Hello, first-time visitor. Press spacebar for 7 seconds of instruction on how to use the elevators." On leaving the elevators, "Hello, first-time visitor. Area 18. Press spacebar for 15 seconds about how to find your way around." Sponsored by Mobiglas, every spacer's first stop when visiting. "Welcome, new visitor to Mobiglas. Press spacebar for 15-second overview of how to use our commerce terminals." "Welcome, new pilot from Area 18 Landing Services. Press spacebar for a 20-second briefing on departure procedures from this front entrance hangar." The two hallmarks of this system are extreme brevity and immediate applicability. Nobody who is ready to play at their computers wants to stop and take a half hour to learn about a game before they start playing. But a 10-second pause that's going to save them well more than that in time spent fumbling around, entirely different matter. You see, content creators like myself have all made video tutorials about starting off in Star Citizen. Some are monolithic and others broken up into episodes. For example, I have a 5-video sequence of new player guides ranging from 6 to 10 minutes each. Morphologists and Captain Burks, on the other hand, have very well-viewed new player guides that are over a half hour long. But what none of us are able to do is to give you that exact nugget of information you need exactly when you first need it in the game. CIG can do that, and it would not be difficult. Now for an update on our giveaways. First, we have the 10,000 subscriber thank you giveaway for the LTI Hull C, the Colossal Cargo Container Carrying Craft, to be given away when the C goes live, presumably now 3.20, and the big annual ship giveaway for the winner's choice of the Galaxy Complete, the massive modular mining moving medical machine, or the Banu Big Box Bargain Bazaar known as the Merchantman. One entry per video for both giveaways. Just be a member and be entered automatically. Otherwise, be a subscriber and comment somehow including the secret word. And the secret word for this video is what CIG employees need to unblock. Fly safe, keep it real, and I see you in the verse. This is Daniel Raymond for Ray's Guide.